is horrible. Don't ever do it. Ever, ever, ever. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. It hurts so much.
Hey everyone, it's Erica Genevieve, aka Teacher Erica. Welcome back to my channel. This is my second mommy life video. This video is all about my labor and delivery journey. So if you haven't already, make sure you watch my pregnancy journey to find out how I got here. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. So on September 2nd at 9 in the morning, it's a Saturday, I wake up and I have slight pains in my abdomen or my lower area, and I had a ton of Braxton Hicks during my pregnancy. So I figured, oh, more Braxton Hicks. I'm not due yet for another week, so whatever. Go about my day. I don't tell my husband anything because I'm not really concerned or worried. I hadn't even lost my mucus plug yet, so I was thinking just Braxton Hicks. They kept going throughout the day, but no biggie. Then we go out to dinner and we get back home 9 o'clock at night, and now they are stronger and they haven't stopped all day. So at this point I'm like, okay, maybe I should probably tell my husband what's going on. So I tell him and he's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, let's start timing them. And we start timing them and they're about 4 or 5 minutes apart. I'm like, okay, well, it's the 411 rule, so let's see, we have to wait an hour. He has a football fantasy draft scheduled for 10 o'clock. So we wait an hour, 10 o'clock hits, and we call a doctor, and he's like, am I gonna be able to do my draft? And I'm thinking like, are you kidding? Is this what you're thinking about right now? But the doctor basically says, wait another hour, and then you guys can come in. So fine. So I am literally contracting and having all these contractions, super painful, while my husband is sitting at his computer doing his fantasy football draft, and I'm just watching a comedy show. I am watching a comedy show because this is the only way for me to get through it. The moment that my husband finishes that draft, we get in the car and we haul it over to the hospital. So we get to the hospital and the woman can tell at the front automatically that I'm in labor. So she sends us over to triage, and it's triage, at least in our hospital, was just a bed for me and a chair. It was not like a recliner chair, not a sofa, a freaking chair. So my husband sits there and we get there, it's like 12 o'clock at night, and the nurse starts putting everything on me to check me, and she goes to check and I am 0.5 centimeter dilated. I've been contracting since 9 in the morning. It's 12 o'clock at night and I am 0.5 centimeter dilated. Okay, so what does that mean? She tells us that we have to stay for a few hours. The doctor wants her to monitor me, yada, 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 yada. Okay, a few hours go by. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I haven't slept a wink. Neither has my poor husband because he's sitting in a freaking chair. And so she comes in and she's like, you know, the doctor wants to know if you want to take Ambien. At this point, I'm desperate to fall asleep. Just close my eyes, something, because I was going through horrible pain. I wasn't sleeping. So I was like, sure. My husband was not happy about it. He's very against medicine, but obviously my body, my choice. So I said, sure, why not? So when I took it, I told my husband, go to the car, sleep in the car, at least you can recline. So he goes. I did not sleep. I guess, I don't know, my body just was like, nope, I don't care if you took the Ambien, it's not happening. So around 7 in the morning, the nurse comes back and she checks me again. You're only 1 centimeter dilated. Are you telling me that I have only been contracting for almost 24 hours and I have only been dilated to 1 centimeter? And she's like, yeah, so let me call the doctor. So the doctor, of course, says, you gotta go home and come back when it's too painful to be home. Okay, so we go home. When we got home, we decided, let's try to get some sleep, even though honestly, I kind of knew that I wasn't, but I felt bad for him. So we got into bed and tried to close my eyes, and it was just, the contractions were coming on so quickly and so painfully that I couldn't sleep. So I left the room and I left my husband and I told him, I'm like, sleep whatever you can. I walked around the house. I tried to eat something. I was just trying to keep my mind off of the fact that it was so freaking painful. I even ended up getting into the shower, into the tub. So maybe I thought, because my best friend had done it while she was in labor. So I was like, maybe it'll help me. The warm water will make me feel better. No, it didn't make me feel better at all. So finally, my hubby wakes up around 12 and I'm calling my mom because she lives 45 minutes away, and I'm telling her, maybe you should come because we're gonna end up going in a little bit because they're getting too painful. I was sitting on a medicine ball and I was rocking because that honestly was helping. It was relieving the pressure, the pain. And so that's pretty much what I did the majority of the time that I was waiting for my mom to come up here. So when she finally gets to our house, we head over to the hospital because at this point I'm crying from pain. It's horrible. And it's around 3:30 in the afternoon on September 3rd. We were finally admitted and put into a bedroom at 4 p.m. on September 3rd. So at this point, I don't even know how many hours. I'm just gonna put it and count it later because it's just too many. I've been contracting this many hours and the contractions have been about 3 or 4 minutes apart, and they were just getting closer and closer and more painful and long lasting. So that was pretty much it. For now, I was basically stuck to this bed and I was contracting, but I really didn't want to use an epidural. I really wanted to try very, very hard not to use one. My best friend used one, so I know that for her, she got the shivers and she was shaking a lot, and I don't like the feeling of being numb and losing that sensation, and I know she did, so that kind of scared me a little bit, so I didn't want to take it. And I knew that my mom had 2 vaginal deliveries without any epidural, so I was like, if my mom can do it, I can do it too. I was very wrong. The nurse kept coming in and asking me if I wanted to take an epidural or have an epidural, and I kept telling her, no, I really want to try without one, whatever. Around, I think it was like between 7 and 9, I'm not exactly sure of the time, she comes in and she does a check, and I am maybe 2 centimeters dilated. 2 centimeters. 2 centimeters. So I said, please give me the epidural. I can't do this anymore. So my husband, again, not too thrilled, but again, he knows that I've been in so much pain, so he's just like, you do what you gotta do. The epidural goes in and I knock out. I even have pictures of me sleeping around like 9 o'clock to prove it that I did sleep, because I don't remember it. And basically the rest of the night was me hitting that button, getting an epidural, going through pain, getting checked, basically not progressing. I really couldn't even break down the time for you anymore because it got really bad. By Monday morning, so this is September 4th, this is the 3rd day, I have had replacements. I have gone through the epidural bags. They replaced them 2 more times. So I had 3 of those bags put in for the epidurals, and the pain just was actually getting worse. It wasn't getting any better. It seemed to the nurses and the doctors that my body was adjusting to the epidural or getting used to it. I was feeling my legs. I was feeling pretty much every single contraction. So it was pretty bad. I ended up finally dilating to 4 centimeters, and the doctor was a little bit more optimistic. So he's like, well, I want to speed this up, so I want to give you Pitocin. Okay, if that's gonna make him come out faster, please, dear God, give him Pitocin. Give me Pitocin. So before he gives me the Pitocin, he inserts the intrauterine, I guess, I'm totally making that name up, the contractions measuring thingy that goes inside, the internal one, whatever that is. He puts that in, gives me the Pitocin. No lie, 10 minutes later, I am screaming in horrible pain. The contraction just went up, and you see the line on the screen, and it just stays up. and it did not go down. And I was just holding the bed and I was going, ah! Screaming. The nurse and the doctor ran back into the room and they're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, it's killing me. Like it was literally killing me. I could not, my husband was freaking out. My mom was like, what the hell happened? And it was just so bad. So he ends up taking out the device, and the moment because he couldn't believe that the device was actually causing me pain. He took out the device and it went away, but the contractions were still not dropping. And if you haven't delivered yet, or if you haven't been in labor yet, the contractions usually go up, 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 up. They reach the top where they get really painful, and then they start dropping. And they just kind of go up and down and up and down. This one up and never went down. So they had to actually stop the Pitocin. And when they finally stopped the Pitocin, my contractions went back to normal, which was just pain every few seconds, every few minutes. I can't even remember. But that was such a horrible experience. It was so freaking painful. I also forgot to mention that before they did that and they put the Pitocin and they put that thing inside, he tried to break my water. And I say try, because he's like, okay, Erica, I'm gonna break your water now. And the nurse is with him. And he's like, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna be a little bit painful, you're gonna feel liquid coming out. And what does he do? Okay, I broke your water. And the nurse and the doctor look down and they go, where's the water? Where's the water? And I'm thinking, are you freaking kidding me? Are you telling me that you just broke my water and nothing came out? Like, what? They were just like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I have no idea. So at that point, the doctor's like, I really would suggest a C-section. No, I'm not having a C-section. My mom is like, no, she's not having a C-section. My husband's like, no, we can wait. And I'm like, yes, I can wait. I can still wait. I was still okay. So finally, around 2 o'clock, oh, by the way, this entire time I haven't progressed in dilation. I'm still at 4. So at 2 o'clock, the doctor or the nurse comes in. No, the doctor comes in for a check. And he actually tells me, you actually went back to 2 centimeters. What? I went to 2 cent. How can I go back in dilation? Are you freaking kidding me? And so he tells me that I have been contracting for so long, because it is now September 4th. I have been contracting for so long that my cervix has swollen and the dilation is pretty much gone. It's going away. So now he says, you need a C-section. Now it's not a choice anymore. Your child's life is in danger, and so is yours. Because if you basically you've been contracting so long that I'm afraid that you are not going to be able to contract when it's time to stop. I guess your uterus needs to contract once the baby's born to stop the blood flow from, like, I don't know, I guess bleeding too much. So at that point, I am like, take him out. I am so done. Forget this vaginal delivery crap. I don't care anymore. Take him out. So they prep me for the C-section. I sign the paperwork. We're all ready to go. My husband's gowned up. My mom's going to the waiting room. They take us down and they strap me to the table. And the nurse, because it wasn't an anesthesiologist that was there, it was a nurse anesthetist, which is pretty much the same thing. And so she's there, and she's the one that's been giving me all the medications pretty much all day. So she's like, okay, well, now I'm gonna give you, I want to say it's fentanyl, because the epidurals have completely worn off. They were not working anymore, guys. Like, absolutely, I felt everything. So she was giving me drugs, and she's behind me. And honestly, what I remember is this horrific pain when they tell me that they're going to start. I felt the slice as they were cutting me open, and I started kicking my feet because I was in pain. And you would think, you're not kicking your feet. Oh, but I was, because one of the nurses holds my feet down and goes, she's moving her feet. And the nurse anesthetist goes, I cannot give her anything else. She's done. Like she has got too much medication. I can't give her anything else. So he had to hold my feet down through the surgery while I'm basically going, ow, ow, and I'm screaming and crying, and my husband has this all on film, and it's horrible. It's horrible. And finally, the nurse anesthetist is telling me everything that they're doing, and I'm pretty sure they do it all the time. Obviously, I've only ever had one C-section, but she's telling me everything that she's doing, and I don't remember a single thing. And the only reason why I am able to tell you this again is because I rewatched the video my husband took, and I can hear the nurse telling me step by step what's happening. So she finally tells me when my son is out, and then in the video he cries. I don't remember him crying. I don't remember her telling me anything step by step. I don't even remember my husband filming, and he had the phone right in front of my face. So I don't remember anything of that. The moment that he comes out, the last thing I see on the video is me going, oh my God, and I literally pass out on the table. Like, I'm gone. And that's it. That's all I remember. The next thing I remember is the doctor telling me, okay, you're done. Wow, your stomach was all baby. So I look down because they finally removed the gown, and my stomach is flat, and I'm like, oh yeah. And then I look at my nurse and I'm like, I have to puke. And I bend over and I puke. And if you've had a C-section, you know how anything with contracting your stomach or moving or anything like that is so painful. It was so horrible. And the nurse was like, her face was like, oh my God, she's gonna freaking puke. Like this horrific hell is not over yet. So she gives me the pan and I puke, whatever, it's done and over. And finally they take me down to recovery. I have not seen my son. I didn't hear him. I didn't hold him. I didn't get to touch him. Nothing. So they take me down to recovery, and at this point I'm pretty high on all the drugs they've given me, because they had to give me drugs for nausea, they had to give me the painkillers. Horrible. So there I puke again. Yay! And because of all of that, after the 2 hours of recovery, they take me into the room where I meet my son and I see my family there and all that. Because of my 2 incidents of throwing up, I actually was not able to eat any food until September, I want to say it was September 6th. They kept me on a liquid diet, breakfast, lunch, and dinner until September 6th. It was basically the day before we left, the day before we were discharged. So after going through all that horrible pain and not eating since September 3rd, because the last meal that I had, guys, was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That was it. That was the last meal I had. On September 3rd at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I did not eat a solid meal until September 6th. That's 3 freaking days of no food. It was horrible. And if you're gonna have a baby soon, know that I am a very rare case of what happened. It was an emergency C-section, and honestly, I have a ton of mom friends, and the majority of their deliveries went perfectly. They did not experience what I did. The majority of them got to eat food after their C-section, whereas I did not. So anyways, after all that, I was finally able to see my son, and he was born perfectly healthy. He was born 8 pounds 6 ounces. I cannot tell you the length because I don't remember, and I'm not gonna go find, because honestly I'm pretty sure you really don't care about his length. But anyways, he was a pretty big baby, and I was glad to see that it was pretty much all him with all the weight that I gained. But everything was fine. We were able to take him home. 2 days later, we decided not to stay the 3rd day because there was actually a hurricane coming September 10th. So here in South Florida, we were gearing up for that. So in between me being in the hospital with my son, my husband was going home and shuttering the windows and everything that he needed to do and prepping the house. The crazy thing is that we ended up asking the doctor if we could leave, and they were so thrilled that we were leaving because they needed the space, because during a hurricane, If you don't know, usually when you are 36 or 37 weeks or more, they ask you to go to the hospital because there is a higher probability of you delivering because of, I don't even know what reason, but that's why they ask women who are pregnant to go to the hospital. So they needed the space. And honestly, it was a horrible night in the hospital 2 nights that we were there. So we were glad to get the heck out of there. And so we packed up and we left. But anyways, back to him being born. So he was born and we slept in the hospital 2 nights after he was born. So everything went really well. The only thing that really sucked, and this is a warning for anybody who is getting ready to deliver, to have a baby, and who is planning on breastfeeding. There is a night in the hospital, at least one, where your baby kind of goes through a growth spurt and they will cry and 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 cry all night long, just to try to get that milk production going, because it's true what they say, when a baby cries, usually your milk, you kind of tend to leak. So the second night that we were in the hospital, the first night that we were in the hospital, he slept wonderfully. I mean, he was born at 4 o'clock and I finally got to see him at around 7, and we all went to sleep perfectly fine that night. The second night, we didn't. I think I slept an hour and 45 minutes the entire night because we couldn't figure out what was wrong. We were new parents, so we didn't know. Does he need a diaper change? Does he need to be burped? Does he need to feed? Is he having trouble breathing? Like, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? Like, we called the nurse a billion times, and the next day, the lactation consultant comes in and says to me, well, how was your night? And when I told her how horrible it was, she goes, perfect. That's how it's supposed to be. I'm like, couldn't you tell me that before? So I knew, so we didn't call the nurse 500,000 times. But anyway, so if you are going to deliver, keep that in mind. If you are breastfeeding, one of the nights can be pretty rough. So just keep them on you and try to get as much sleep as you can. But if they cry, just put them to the boob, see if they'll eat. Most of the time they will. Yeah, so that is pretty much it for my pregnancy and birth story. It was not a fun journey for me. I look back and I think that it was a pretty rough year, a horrible delivery experience. But now that I did have a C-section, I am not planning on having a VBAC. If you don't know what a VBAC is, you can go ahead and leave it in the comments and I'll let you know. I am definitely more excited that I get to schedule the next time I'm pregnant. I get to schedule the C-section and I have that planned, and I don't have to worry about laboring or anything like that. I know there are some women who like to start laboring before they have the C-section, but no, that's not me. It's not gonna happen. So I am at least looking forward to the possibility of enjoying my next pregnancy and my next delivery, because I feel that it was great having my best friend pregnant with me. It's just her pregnancy and delivery were so flawless compared to mine that I had set my standard to what she was experiencing, and when I didn't reach it, it kind of like, so remember, when you are going through pregnancy and when you are getting close to delivery, every woman's story is absolutely different. This is my birth story and what I experienced. It's not what you will. And I mean, nobody's story is the same. Out of the 10 mom friends that I've got, not one of our stories is identical. Everybody's story is different. So just keep positive and hope for the best. And I wish you good luck on your pregnancy journey, on your birth story. And that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble about my pregnancy and birth story. And congratulations to those of you who are gonna go through it. And I hope you watch my next videos. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit like if you like this video, hit dislike if you didn't, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.